After 3 years, we have finally reached the 12th and final section of ranking every Disney and Pixar animated movie. In this final section, I will rank 7 movies from 2021 till the most recently released movie. Without further ado, let's review 7 final movies. Damn, 3 movies in 1 year? Pretty sure that already happened in section 10. Anyway, we're starting with Encanto, a movie that everyone talked about when it came out. The story follows Mirabel Madrigal, the only member of her family who hasn't received the magical gift. When the magic of the Encanto starts to fade, Mirabel embarks on a journey to uncover the truth about her family's past and save their home. Along the way, she learns the importance of family, acceptance, and embracing her own unique qualities. Okay, I know I'll piss off a lot of people by saying this, but Encanto is overrated. I don't mean it's bad, but definitely not amazing. The story here is pretty decent. I like the themes of magic and family. I think it's a unique concept that we haven't seen before. Plus, similar to Coco, this movie portrays the location in a nice way, which is Colombia in this case. The animation in this movie is also great, especially during the songs. I like how some specific objects, like the house, were animated. In addition, the colors and lighting present Colombia in a very pleasant way. The designs are also nice. Some characters look bland, but there are definitely many memorable designs, like with Mirabel and Bruno. The songs in Encanto are honestly really overrated, with most of them just being decent. I know a lot of people think this is one of the best Disney musicals, but honestly Coco's songs are infinitely superior. The only song that I thought was amazing is We Don't Talk About Bruno. When this movie came out, I was seeing everybody talk about this song, and honestly I can get why. It's really iconic and sounds catchy. Also, this movie's humor is mediocre, since most of the funny jokes came from Mirabel and Bruno. Last and the most significant problem of Encanto are the characters. Mirabel is a nice protagonist. She's the only family member without a magical gift, which is why I rooted for her. The ending with her actual gift being the miracle itself was sweet. And Bruno is definitely my favorite character in the movie. I love how the song portrays him as a villain, but in reality everybody disliked him because he told the truth about the future. Sadly, the other characters are either mediocre or bad. The villain in particular, which is Mirabel's grandma, I don't care about her not actually being a villain. She acts so pushy and annoying towards Mirabel. Her backstory is good, but it doesn't make me like her. Overall, Encanto is a solid movie. I don't think it's amazing like others do, but it's not bad either. I'll place Encanto above Toy Story 4, but under Peter Pan. Turning Red follows Mei Li, a 13-year-old Chinese-Canadian girl who transforms into a giant red panda when she experiences strong emotions. As she navigates adolescence and family expectations, Mei learns to embrace her individuality and the power of friendship. I've never said this about previous movies, but this one is definitely intended for a female audience. Does that make me dislike this movie? Nah, I actually think this one beats Encanto. First of all, I think the story in this film is pretty good. I like how they showed Asian culture in a Canadian setting. This movie's title is a nice metaphorical use of words, since turning red refers to an emotion and Mei Li's transformation to a red panda. The whole element with red pandas is probably the best part of the story. It adds up well with the movie's ending. Speaking of the ending, I love the whole segment with the family fighting against Mei Li's mother. It makes sense why her red panda was the most aggressive one. The message of embracing yourself despite parental restriction is nice. Another plus of the movie is without a doubt the animation. I like how they used a style that sort of resembles anime. I appreciate some certain elements they added, like various facial features and fog during the transformation scenes. The designs they gave to characters like red pandas look adorable, which is another plus. I also admire different art styles and the lighting during the concert scene. Apart from animation, the only songs that play here are the songs by Four Town. I get that many people think they sound like a generic boy band, but I don't care. The songs here are awesome. If there are some minuses I want to mention, it's the humor. The humor in this movie is mostly cringy. Sure, there are some funny jokes, and I get the humor in this film is supposed to be that way, but I feel like a lot of the jokes could be both cringy and funny. Lastly, the characters here aren't that likable. Again, it's probably because they have several cringy moments, but I didn't enjoy any of the characters. Mei Li is a decent protagonist, but everyone else is mediocre. The only character I actively disliked was Mei Li's mother. Similar to Encanto, she's just a pushy and demanding parent that turns into a villain. The reason I don't dislike her as much is because her backstory seems more reasonable than Abuela's. Overall, Turning Red is underrated. Yeah, there are cringy moments in here, but if you don't mind that, you should totally watch it, it's pretty good. I'll place Turning Red above Dumbo, but under Onward. Oh Jesus, not this shit. Lightyear is an origin story that follows the legendary space ranger Buzz Lightyear as he is marooned on a hostile planet with his crew. Determined to find a way home, Buzz embarks on a perilous mission with a team of ambitious recruits. As he faces off against the evil Zurg and his robotic army, Buzz learns the true meaning of heroism, sacrifice, and the importance of teamwork. Yeah, this movie is awful, I fucking hate it. From the first scene it says that Andy bought Buzz Lightyear toy from seeing this movie, which is already fucking stupid. If this was the case, I'd imagine 6-year-old Andy watching a cartoon about Buzz. Anyway, I don't want to talk a lot, so let's just get this over with. First of all, the story in Lightyear sucks. At first it focuses on Lightyear trying to reach 100% hyperspeed, which takes him many years until his colleague Alicia dies. Honestly, the scene of her death was the only good scene in the movie. However, once he actually reaches that speed, Emperor Zurg invades their planet and now Buzz has to defeat him with his new team. The story in general is really boring and forgettable. I rewatched this movie and barely remember what happened. The characters in this movie aren't much better, a lot of them are just mediocre or uninteresting. I don't care about any of Buzz's companions like Easy, Mo, and Derby. Seriously, the only notable thing about Easy is that she feels undervalued and unimportant compared to Buzz. Like, yeah, Buzz's attitude improves with the movie, but I don't care. Mo and Darby are mainly used for comedic purposes and they ain't very funny. Buzz himself is really bland in this one, not even close to his Toy Story version. If this boring version of Buzz was in the first movie, most of the people wouldn't care about him as a character. The villain, aka Zurg, ain't better. The reveal of Zurg being an old version of Buzz was stupid. The only character I actually thought was decent is the robotic cat Socks. His design is cute and he has some funny moments. Humor here definitely ain't good, but there were a few funny jokes, I guess. Lastly, the animation here is the only good element. The space segments as well as technological landscapes look cool, plus some designs are also good. I will say though, Buzz's design looks really bad. I get that this is his human version, but god, it's hideous. Overall, Lightyear is awful. It had a nice concept, and if this wasn't related to Toy Story I might have liked it, but the execution failed. I'll put Lightyear above Ralph Breaks the Internet, but under The Good Dinosaur. Another third movie in the same year. I wonder if this will be more common in the future or if it's random. Strange World follows the Clade family, a legendary family of explorers. When their world's energy source, Pando, begins to fail, they embark on a perilous journey to a mysterious subterranean land. As they navigate this strange new world, the Clades must confront their differences and work together to save their home and uncover the truth about Pando. Damn Disney, 2 bad movies in a row. I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't mention this, but almost nobody positively talked about this movie upon its release. The only thing I've heard is all the controversies with the protagonist being gay. That doesn't really make sense because Alicia in the previous movie was lesbian. Anyway, my main complaint regarding the movie is the story. It's really boring. I know I've said the same thing for Lightyear, but I just can't get invested because of how complicated the story is. The characters in this movie aren't much better. Searcher Clade and Jaeger Clade have a messy father and son relationship that I don't care about. The other characters like Ethan's mom are mostly unmemorable and uninteresting. The villain Callisto isn't that special either. She only becomes a villain for a short time period because the Clades wanted to stop the expedition. They also added this blue blob called Splat as a comical relief, which I don't care about. The only character I liked was Ethan because of his adventurous personality. The jokes in this movie aren't good either. I think there were only a few parts I laughed at, and those included Ethan and some of his family members. Another thing I wanted to mention are the transitions in this movie. I know this is a random detail, but a lot of the transitions look weird and goofy compared to the other Disney movies. Also, there was a twist in this movie that I forgot to mention. Basically, Avalonia, which is the main location of the movie, is situated on a giant turtle shell. I think the twist was decent, but it could be a lot better if I actually cared about the story. Lastly, the animation in this movie is great. The only major advantage, I like the designs of the main characters because they're simple but look charming. Some designs look ugly, but overall they're good. In addition, the settings look great. I love the use of certain colors like green and pink. Plus, a lot of the textures are designed well. Overall, Strange World is a really bad movie. Sure, the animation is great and the twist was decent, but that doesn't make it a good movie. I'll put Strange World above The Good Dinosaur, but under Fantasia 2000. I remember seeing people complain about this movie when it first came out, and after watching it, I feel like most of the hate was undeserved. The film is set in Element City, where fire, water, earth, and air residents coexist. Ember, Lumen, and Wade Ripple defy expectations and discover a surprising connection. Despite their elemental differences, they embark on a journey of self-discovery and understanding, learning to appreciate each other's unique qualities and the power of empathy. First of all, I feel like Disney is running out of ideas. I think the whole concept of different organisms coexisting in one city was already established in Zootopia. Plus, the two main characters in Zootopia also had a connection between each other. The main difference is that Zootopia focused more on discrimination and equality, while in this movie the key element is love. That doesn't make this movie bad, just wanted to point it out. Anyway, the story in Elemental is very simple but nice. Amber, a part of the fire element, falls in love with Wade, a guy who's in the water element. It's a Romeo and Juliet story that reminds me of Lady and the Tramp. The characters in Elemental is what makes me like the movie even more. I like how Amber and Wade's personalities are complete opposites and yet they fall in love with each other through the movie's runtime. If I had to choose my favorite character, I say that it would be Wade because of his sentimental but comical personality. The other characters like Amber's parents are also pretty good. They have some funny moments in the film. I like the whole conflict with Amber not wanting to take over her dad's shop. It highlights the importance of supporting your children's aspirations. The movie's main message though is similar to Zootopia, with it being about embracing diversity despite surface level distinctions. Even though Zootopia did a better job with this point, this movie still tackled it well enough. Now another aspect worth noting are the songs. My favorite song is definitely the main theme called Still the Show. It's not spectacular but sounds catchy and fits well with the movie's vibe. The humor in Elemental is also pretty good. Some jokes are silly, but a lot of them are still good because of various puns towards elements. The funniest character in the movie was definitely Wade. The animation in this movie is obviously amazing. All the elements like fire and water are drawn greatly. I like how you can see Wade's flowing bubbles and embers. Well, embers. I wish Element City would be constructed in a more memorable way like Zootopia, but it's still nice. If I have any concerns, I wish the movie focused more on other elements since I didn't care about some certain side characters. Overall, Elemental is a pretty good movie. Nothing extraordinary, but it's still worth watching. I'll put Elemental above Bolt, but under Alice in Wonderland. Similar to Elemental, people didn't like this film once it was released, and compared to the previous movie, I did not like this one either. Wish follows Asha, a spirited 17-year-old girl living in the Kingdom of Roses. When her beloved grandfather's wish goes unfulfilled by the selfish King Magnifico, Asha makes a powerful wish upon a star. This wish brings Star, a mischievous and energetic cosmic force, to her aid. Together, Asha and Star challenge Magnifico's tyrannical rule and inspire the people of Roses to reclaim their wishes and dreams. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. This movie's animation looks ugly. I don't know what happened, but I feel like they tried going with an approach that DreamWorks used at the time, basically a mix of 2D and 3D animation. As a result, I just kept thinking that the movie looked unfinished. Sure, I like the lighting and some colors look good in specific scenes, but overall the animation sucks because of the character models and movements. The story in this movie isn't much better. I don't think it's bad because compared to Lightyear and Strange World, the story wasn't so boring to follow. That doesn't mean it was good, but at least I was somewhat invested with the concept. The real problem though are definitely the characters. Asha is an uninteresting protagonist that I didn't care about. The reason she tried to return the wish to her grandpa is because the king wouldn't grant it. I get that it sucks, but I don't think that's a valid reason to start a mutiny. The side characters aren't that good, a lot of them are just so forgettable and unfunny. The wishing star has barely any personality and only grants wishes. I can also tell that they tried to use some characters, like Ash's friends, as comical reliefs, but it didn't work. The humor as a whole here is mediocre at best. I laughed at some jokes, but overall a lot of them just weren't for my liking. Honestly, the only funny character in the movie was the talking goat. In addition, this movie had a lot of songs and all of them were mediocre and forgettable. I'm pretty sure they end up defeating the villain with a song, which I wasn't a fan of. Speaking of the villain, King Magnifico is my favorite character in the movie. He's not an amazing villain, but I like how he uses dark magic to defeat Asha and her friends. Additionally, his design looks pretty cool, it kinda aligns with his personality. Lastly, I just wanted to mention that Wish was made during Disney's 100-year anniversary. Seeing references and credits to earlier movies was more entertaining than the whole movie. In a summary, I don't know what to feel about Wish. It's definitely bad because of the animation and the majority of the characters, but I didn't dislike it as much as Lightyear and Strange World. I'll place Wish above The Rescuers Down Under, but under Incredibles 2. And we're ending the series with a sequel to one of the best Disney movies. Let's see how this ends. Inside Out 2 follows Riley Anderson as she navigates adolescence. A new emotion, anxiety, emerges, causing chaos in her mind. The core emotions work together to help Riley understand and manage her emotions, ultimately leading to personal growth and acceptance. First of all, I absolutely love the story of Inside Out 2. I was always wondering why the first one ended with the main emotions ignoring the puberty button, so I'm glad this one had a time skip and jumped to Riley's puberty. It's great to see how this franchise focuses on Riley's struggles and growth. The main factor behind this sequel story being so compelling are the new emotions. The new emotions are genuinely really cool and likable. My favorite is undoubtedly anxiety, since for me personally it is the most relatable emotion. I love how as soon as anxiety joins headquarters, she kicks out every previous emotion that tries to oppose their control. Again, just like was the first movie, this one can be associated with real life, when we might ignore other emotions due to severe anxiety. As for other emotions, they're also great due to their realism. The animation in this movie definitely improved from the first one. A cool feature I noticed in the movie's intro were some slow motion shots during the hockey game. I like the teenager design they gave to Riley, as well as all the designs for the new emotions like anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. Just like was the first one, I admire how each emotion has a specific color. Plus, I like the facial features for every emotion. It helps to explain what each one is responsible for. Plus, the movements of each emotion make the animation even better. The humor in this movie is also great, specifically during Riley's segments. I love how Riley's behavior changes as she becomes a teenager. It's funny because of how relatable it is. Apart from that, both the old and new emotions have funny scenes. I also really like how the old emotions work together to return to the headquarters. We never really saw fear, disgust, and anger interact together with joy and sadness, so this was a pleasant surprise to me. Their whole trip is charming and creative. I love all the new settings that are related to real life. Some distinct locations, like the belief system, are drawn in a gorgeous way. I know I keep mentioning this, but I love how Inside Out can be associated with real life. Lastly, I want to talk about two scenes that had the largest impact on me. Firstly, it's the scene when Joy starts crying, saying that when you grow up you feel less joy. That scene made me cry in the theater because of how realistic and emotional it was. In the movie, Joy says that she doesn't know how to stop anxiety, which is so tragic because it's something that we as humans can relate to. As a cherry on top, I love how each emotion emphasizes with joy. Secondly, it's the scene of the anxiety attack towards the end. Throughout the movie, anxiety and the other emotions made reckless choices that negatively influenced Riley. For example, they tried to make Riley abandon her friends and befriend the cool kid by acting differently. Naturally, when things didn't work out as anxiety expected, she started to panic. This entire scene is one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, as it depicts an anxiety attack in a very realistic and caring way. As a person who frequently struggles with anxiety, I can definitely relate to this. The message of understanding, accepting, and managing all emotions in a healthy way is amazing. Overall, I wish I could talk more about this movie, but I think I made my points clear. My only minor complaint is that I wish it didn't focus as much on hockey, but that's my personal view. Inside Out 2 is an amazing sequel. I really recommend watching it. I'm glad we were able to end on a high note. I will place Inside Out 2 above Finding Nemo, but under Sleeping Beauty. Well, there you have it. I reviewed every single Disney and Pixar animated movie. Not gonna lie, this section was brutal. Half of the movies were good, the other half sucked, and only one was amazing. I can't believe how at one point I was ready to cancel the series, but all of a sudden I made section 5 and then kept moving forward. Before I say my final thoughts, let's go to the part you've all been waiting for. Ranking every Disney and Pixar animated movie. Starting with the worst Disney and Pixar animated movie, Home on the Range, The Rescuers, Dinosaur, Pocahontas, The Sword and the Stone, Oliver and Company, Chicken Little, Brave, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Lightyear, The Good Dinosaur, Strange World, Fantasia 2000, Fantasia, The Rescuers Down Under, Wish, Incredibles 2, The Aristocats, Cars 2, Raya and the Last Dragon, Finding Dory, The Great Mouse Detective, The Black Cauldron, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Winnie the Pooh, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, 101 Dalmatians, Frozen 2, Cinderella, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 4, Encanto, Peter Pan, Brother Bear, Dumbo, Turning Red, Onward, Lady and the Tramp, Meet the Robinsons, Robin Hood, Bolt, Elemental, Alice in Wonderland, Treasure Planet, Pinocchio, The Princess and the Frog, Jungle Book, Big Hero 6, Hercules, Bambi, Frozen, Moana, Lilo and Stitch, Cars 3, Soul, Toy Story, Cars, Tarzan, The Emperor's New Groove, Luca, Monsters University, Tangled, Mulan, The Incredibles, WALL-E, Zootopia, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, Wreck-It Ralph, Finding Nemo, Inside Out 2, Sleeping Beauty, Toy Story 2, Fox and the Hound, Inside Out, Toy Story 3, Beauty and the Beast, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Monsters Inc., The Lion King, Coco, Ratatouille, Up. In all honesty, this was a very difficult series. A lot of the times I didn't want to talk about a movie, but I tried my best to summarize my main thoughts. Despite the difficulties, this was still very fun to make. It was fun to watch a lot of new movies I've never seen before, as well as rewatching some that I've watched in the past. I'm really surprised how some movies I've never seen before ended up so high on the list, while the others I used to like got worse after rewatching. Even though some of my placements are controversial, it's solely my thoughts, so I don't expect anyone to fully agree. I think I would change some placements, but overall I'm happy with my list. I also know that sections 1 till 4 look really poor compared to the rest, but I started this series 3 years ago and my editing skills weren't great. Anyway, like I said before, modern Disney became a mess of constant hit or miss movies. I wouldn't say they faced a drastic downfall because they still make amazing movies, plus there were a lot of good and bad movies back when I started. If I had to choose Disney and Pixar's best era, it would be from the early 90s till the late 2000s. As for Disney and Pixar's future, I know Moana 2 is being released this month, and apart from that, many sequels will be made in the future. Even though I won't be able to review them, I believe that we'll receive more amazing movies from these two companies. Whether you like or dislike modern Disney, you can't deny that their impact will remain in history. Well, I guess this is it. I would like to thank every single person that has helped me with reviewing these movies. I will mention all of you guys in the description. Without you all, this series would be way more difficult to make, so thanks for helping me. I would also like to thank LS Mark for inspiring me 3 years ago. I wasn't able to complete this in one video like he did, but I'm still happy I did it. Lastly, thanks to everyone who has been watching and supporting this series. Your support motivated me to keep moving forward and finish this series. With that being said, I have finally ranked every Disney and Pixar animated movie. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.